The arena is silent. Not dead silent. The kind of silence that breathes, that trembles, that waits for something impossible to happen. And then, a heartbeat. One single thud from the speakers. Boom! The lights flicker, casting long shadows across the ramp, as if the entire stadium is bracing for impact. Because tonight, something extraordinary is about to unfold. Bron Breakker! A name that carries pure intensity. A name built on hard strikes, explosive energy, and a legacy carved through bloodline and raw talent. Fans know him as the future. Athletes fear him as the present. Opponents see him, and their first instinct is simple: survive. But what if survival wasn't enough anymore? What if there was something bigger behind him? Something darker. Something older than the ring itself. Something that carries weight. Legendary weight. Suddenly, an unfamiliar symbol flashes on the Titantron, sharp golden, mythical. The crowd gasps. Murmurs roll through the arena like thunder. The symbol is unmistakable. It's the emblem of the Seagal Dynasty. A crest that represents discipline, power, and a timeless martial tradition. Wait, what? The Seagal Dynasty. Here, and connected to Bron Breakker? No one saw this coming. The world of professional wrestling is built on surprises, returns, betrayals, and mind-shaking reveals. But there are moments rare. Once-in-a-decade moments where the shock is so massive that the entire industry holds its breath. This feels like one of those moments. Breakker steps onto the ramp, but he's different. There's a new intensity behind his eyes, a new purpose in his walk. He isn't charging, he's controlling. He isn't roaring, he's calculating. Fans sense it. Something has changed. Something big. A voiceover from commentary cuts through the static. Ladies and gentlemen, this can't be real. Is Bron Breakker aligning himself with the legendary Seagal Dynasty? The crowd explodes. Some cheer. Some scream. Some simply freeze in disbelief. Because this isn't just an entrance. His isn't just an alliance. This is a seismic shift. Imagine the unstoppable raw power of Breakker fused with the centuries-deep discipline of the Seagal name. Imagine the unpredictability, the chaos, the dominance. Tonight, a new force could be rising. And if that force comes together, if destiny truly intertwines Breakker with the Seagal Dynasty, then nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever be the same again. Wrestling is a world built on contrasts. Strength versus strategy. Speed versus experience. Tradition versus evil. And every once in a while, a moment comes that blends all these forces into a single storyline so compelling, so electrifying, that fans can't help but get pulled in. This is that moment. Because on one side stands Bron Breakker, a force of nature. A man sculpted from raw athleticism, violent speed, and explosive power. From the moment he stepped into the ring, the wrestling world knew something was different. The way he charges. The way he delivers impact. The way the ropes shake every time he unleashes that signature spear. Breakker doesn't just wrestle. He dominates. His name carries the echoes of his family's legacy. His presence carries the weight of the future. And every match is a reminder that he is not just another face on the roster, he is a generational phenomena. But every great power needs a narrative. Every warrior needs a myth. Enter the Seagal Dynasty. A name that has reverberated through martial arts, Hollywood action, and global pop culture for decades. A name that has been whispered with respect. A symbol of discipline, strength, and calculated force. Steven Seagal himself represents not just a person, but an entire philosophy, a way of approaching conflict with precision, control, and absolute confidence. And now, imagine that legacy stepping into the world of wrestling. Imagine that energy merging with the brute strength of Bron Breakker. It's more than a crossover, more than a storyline. It's a collision of worlds. A powerhouse with the future in his hands. A dynasty forged in discipline and legend. Together, they form a narrative that feels too big to ignore. This isn't just about athletic ability. This isn't just about legacy. This is about synergy. A fusion of two powerful identities. A partnership that could redefine what dominance looks like. Fans love unpredictability. Fans love shock value. Fans love watching worlds collide in ways they never expected. And that's exactly what makes this concept so magnetic. Bron Breakker brings muscle, momentum, and fire. The Seagal Dynasty brings mystique, legacy, and ancient strength. Together, they symbolize a new era waiting to erupt. This is where power meets legacy. This is where destiny meets opportunity. This is where the story truly begins. From the moment Bron Breakker first stepped into the spotlight, the wrestling universe felt the tremor. Some superstars grow gradually, earning momentum over time. Breakker didn't need time. He didn't need slow buildup. He arrived like a meteor, fast, fierce, and impossible to ignore. Breakker's rise is not just a story of physical strength. It's a story of legacy. Born into a wrestling bloodline, raised around the business, shaped by champions, he carries with him a name that already has volume. But here's the twist. Breakker never relied on that name. He didn't want to be remembered because of his family. He wanted to earn his place through pure performance. And he did. His early matches were an explosion of raw energy. Fans instantly recognized something rare, a superstar who could combine brute power with surprising agility. His movements were sharp, quick, almost animalistic. Every slam, every spear, every roar felt like a declaration. I'm not here to play. I'm here to take over. Breakker's intensity is different. It isn't just aggression. It's precision. He attacks the ring as if it's a battlefield. Every corner, every rope, every moment is an opportunity to dominate. And when Breakker delivers impact, the sound echoes, bodies hit the mat with a force that sends shockwaves through the arena. But greatness doesn't come from strength alone. It comes from heart. And Breakker has heart, for Daisy trains like a machine. He competes like a warrior. He focuses like a strategist. Every goal he sets, he crushes. Every challenge he faces, he storms through. And as the months went by, Breakker didn't just win matches, he earned respect. Crowds chant louder when he enters. Opponents watch him more carefully. Commentators struggle to find new adjectives to describe his dominance. He has become the kind of superstar you know will reach the main event. Level, it's only a matter of when, not if. But what if his story isn't meant to be a solo journey? What if destiny is preparing him for something bigger? Because Breakker's energy, his power, his unstoppable momentum, all of it points to a future far beyond the ordinary. A future where he's not just a champion, but a leader. A force. A phenomenon. And when a powerhouse like Bron Breakker enters the path of a legendary dynasty, that's when stories become myth. That's when a superstar becomes unforgettable. Long before the bright lights of wrestling arenas, long before the chants, the roaring crowds, and the dramatic rivalries, there existed another kind of legend. A legend built on discipline, precision, and a philosophy forged through martial arts. That legend belongs to the Seagal Dynasty. The Seagal name isn't just a last name, it's a symbol of power rooted not in brute force, but in mastery, in calmness, in striking when the opponent least expects it, in turning an enemy's strength against them, in becoming untouchable through technique and focus. Steven Seagal became a global icon not because of flash, but because of confidence, controlled aggression, a stillness in chaos. His movements were deliberate. His presence carried weight even without words. And that presence carved a path through Hollywood, marking an era defined by hard-hitting action and stoic power. But like any true dynasty, the story did not end with one figure. A legacy does not fade. It multiplies. The new generation carries the Seagal essence forward in a world where combat sports and entertainment collide. The Seagal influence returns in a new form, a wrestling dynasty concept ready to redefine the meaning of dominance. Their philosophy blends martial discipline with theatrical intensity, a perfect hybrid for modern wrestling storytelling. The dynasty represents a mindset, a way of thinking, a strategic approach to conflict, something different from anything the wrestling world has seen before. While the wrestlers focus on power, the Seagal legacy focuses on control. While others look for brawls, the dynasty looks for precision. While many get lost in chaos, the Seagal path stays centered, unshakable, composed. Imagine that energy stepping onto the ramp. Imagine a symbol that instantly commands silence. A presence that transforms the atmosphere. A name that holds history. Discipline! And mystique! And this is where the idea becomes electrifying. What happens when that legacy collides with the explosive force of Bron Breakker? Two worlds. Two energies. Two philosophies! One built on raw power. One built on refined mastery. Together, they form a partnership that feels both shocking and inevitable. Wrestling thrives on characters that stand out, characters that feel larger than life. The Seagal dynasty brings a sense of ancient strength, a timeless aura. Breakker brings the future. When past and future align, something extraordinary emerges. Something unstoppable. Something the wrestling world isn't ready for, but desperately wants to see. Every great story has a twist. A moment where everything shifts, where the impossible suddenly feels real. In wrestling, these twists create legacies. They become the moments fans never forget. The shocks that shake the industry to its core. This is one of those moments. Because what if, just imagine, Bron Breakker didn't walk that path alone? What if he stood shoulder to shoulder with one of the most enigmatic and influential names in martial arts history? What if Breakker became the chosen warrior of the Seagal dynasty? The question alone sends shivers across the wrestling universe. Wrestling fans love unpredictability, but this level of unpredictability, this changes the landscape. Breakker, already a future world champion, aligning with a legendary dynasty. That's more than a surprise. That's an earthquake. What would it mean? For starters, it would give Breakker more than just momentum. It would give him aura, mystique, a presence that extends beyond brute strength. The Seagal dynasty represents discipline, strategy, and ancient wisdom. Combining that with Breakker's explosive force? That's a terrifying formula! Imagine backstage whispers. Imagine locker room tension. Imagine commentators struggling to process what they're seeing. You've got to be kidding me. What does this mean for the future of WWE? And the fanzo would lose their minds. Social media would erupt. Videos, theories, memes, reactions, breakdowns. Everyone scrambling to decode the alliance. Why Breakker? Why now? What's the plan? Who's the target? Because this doesn't feel like a casual connection. This feels intentional. Calculated, dangerous. Breakker, with his unstoppable power. The Seagal dynasty, with its unshakable discipline. Together, they form an alliance that threatens every established name in wrestling. Cody Rhodes. Seth Rollins? Roman Reigns? Damian Priest? Gansa? Every one of them would have to rethink their strategy. Everyone would have to prepare for a different kind of war. Because Breakker isn't just a powerhouse anymore. With the dynasty behind him, he becomes something else, something unstoppable. The what if becomes, what if this alliance changes everything? What if this union becomes the next era-defining Fulsu? What if this is the moment a superstar becomes a dynasty? Because when power meets discipline, when legacy meets raw force, there are no limits. And this twist might be the twist that rewrites wrestling history forever. The lights dim, then vanish. Darkness drops over the entire arena like a curtain. The crowd waits. Breath caught in their throats. Not a single chant, not a single scream, just anticipation vibrating like electricity. And then boom, a thunderous explosion of sound. Flashes of white light strobe through the arena, carving sharp shapes into the darkness. Smoke billows from both sides of the ramp, thick and swirling, glowing under the strobe lights like something alive. The Titantron awakens with a golden shimmer, a symbol slowly forming, like a crest being forged in fire. The Seagal emblem. The crowd erupts a wave of shock, a wave of disbelief. Then another sound. Deep, rhythmic, primal. Footsteps. A silhouette appears at the top of the ramp. Broad shoulders, powerful posture, unstoppable presence. The smoke parts like curtains. The lights sharpen. And the figure steps through. Bron Breakker, but not the Bron Breakker. The fans are used to seeing no wild grin, no charging intensity, no frantic roar. This Bron Breakker walks with the calm of a fighter who knows exactly how strong he is. The composure of a warrior who fears nothing. The precision of someone guided by discipline. Seagal discipline. Commentary erupts. This can't be real. What is happening? Look at Breakker's eyes. This is not the same man. Breakker stands at the top of the ramp, fists clenched, aura pulsing with undeniable dominance. The golden crest behind him glows brighter, bathing him in a dramatic halo of power. Slow-motion cameras capture the moment. His eyes sharpen, his jaw sets. His posture straightens like a king, about to claim his throne. He starts. Walking. Each step heavy. Each step intentional. Each step echoing through the stadium as the music intensifies into a deep, cinematic score. Fans scream his name, but they can't look away from that emblem. Breakker walks through the smoke like a myth returning to life. He reaches ringside and stops, head slightly tilted. A calculated calm settling over the arena. The camera zooms in. A single line flashes across the Titantron. The words that instantly fracture the wrestling world. The dynasty has awakened. And just like that, the moment becomes unforgettable. The entrance becomes iconic. The story takes a turn so explosive that fans know they are witnessing history. The arena has erupted. But the real storm is only beginning. The moment Bron Breakker aligned with the Seagal Dynasty, the entire wrestling world shifted. Imagine the landscape you knew. Rivalries, storylines, champions, suddenly thrown into chaos. The balance of power has changed, and everyone now has a new calculation to make. First, consider Breakker himself. Already a force of nature, his dominance is now amplified. The raw power, speed, and athleticism he's known for are now backed by strategy, precision, and an aura of legendary discipline. Opponents no longer face just a powerhouse, they face a hybrid of sheer force and calculated genius. Every move is now sharper, every strike more lethal, every match an exhibition of both aggression and intellect. Then think about the locker room dynamics. Established stars like Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Reigns, and Gunther are suddenly forced to reconsider their approach. No longer can brute strength or experience alone secure victory. They now face an unpredictable, disciplined juggernaut. Tension simmers backstage. Allies wonder, who will rise? Rivals fear the unstoppable force looming over the horizon. And fans, they thrive on it. The whispers, the debates, the social media frenzy, all explode. Hashtags trend. Memes flood. The world of wrestling is watching in awe. Storylines evolve as well. Any match involving Breakker now carries double weight. Every feud is heightened. Every championship contest becomes a psychological war. Promos gain a new level of intensity. Audiences feel the anticipation, the suspense, the sheer gravity of what's unfolding. Even pay-per-view events are transformed. Imagine Breakker versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, a battle of unbridled aggression versus strategic mastery, with the Seagal Dynasty looming in the background, influencing the match, tilting the battlefield in unpredictable ways. Imagine every title chase, every rivalry, every main event being reshaped by this new force. The stakes are instantly higher, and this impact doesn't stop in the ring. Social media explodes with fan theories, memes, and viral clips. Podcasts dissect every move, every facial expression, every camera angle. Wrestling YouTubers analyze the implications, debating who can even compete with a Breakker backed by the Dynasty. One thing becomes crystal clear. The alliance has changed everything. WWE, AEW, and the entire wrestling universe now face a future redefined. Every superstar, every fan, every commentator must acknowledge it. A new era has begun. Power isn't just physical anymore. It's a fusion of force, strategy, and legacy. And no one will ever see it coming the same way again. There's raw power in Bron Breakker. There's mastery in the Seagal Dynasty. Alone, each is formidable. Together, they create something entirely new, a force the wrestling world has never seen before. This is power fusion, where strength meets strategy and chaos meets control. Breakker's energy is explosive. He dominates the ring with a fury that's impossible to ignore. Every slam, every spear, every high-impact move is a statement. I am unstoppable. His youth, momentum, and raw athleticism condensed into a living weapon. But even a weapon is limited without direction. Enter the Seagal Dynasty. They bring discipline, precision, and the wisdom of a legacy that has been honed over decades. Every motion is calculated, every action purposeful. They don't just overpower, they outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. This is martial mastery applied to the spectacle of wrestling, where timing is everything, and patience can be just as lethal as brute strength. Now, imagine the synergy. Breakker's explosive attacks are sharpened by strategy. His intensity is focused by centuries of legacy. Every match is no longer just a battle, it's a carefully orchestrated storm. Opponents who could once survive his onslaught now find themselves outmatched, not only in strength but in tactics. They are trapped in a whirlwind of power and precision they never saw coming. This fusion also changes the psychology of the ring. Breakker doesn't rush in blindly. He calculates. He adapts. The Seagal influence teaches him patience without diminishing aggression. Every feint, every counter, every signature move is enhanced. The result, a performer who is not just a powerhouse, but a strategic juggernaut. Fans notice it immediately. Every entrance becomes more commanding. Every in-ring moment more gripping. Commentators struggle to describe the phenomenon. He's faster. He's smarter. He's unstoppable. The buzz spreads online. Analysts dissect every angle, memes, reaction videos, and theories flood social media. The world has never witnessed a combination like this. The true genius of this fusion lies in its unpredictability. No one can anticipate where Breakker will strike or how the dynasty's influence will manifest. Each match, each feud, each storyline becomes a suspenseful narrative, keeping fans on the edge of their seats. This isn't just a wrestler stepping up. This is a new archetype in professional wrestling. Strength amplified by strategy. Fury tempered by legacy. The perfect storm. And when these two forces collide, the results are more than shocking. They are legendary. Every great alliance in wrestling sparks questions. What comes next? Who will rise? Who will fall? And most importantly, how far can this new force go? The Bron Breakker Seagal Dynasty partnership is no different. Their union isn't just about one match, one title, or one feud. It's a narrative with endless possibilities, each more explosive than the last. First, consider the mentors versus warrior dynamic. Breakker may carry raw power, but the Seagal Dynasty brings wisdom and precision. Will this relationship remain harmonious, or will tension build? Wrestling thrives on internal conflict. Imagine subtle hints. A disagreement in strategy, a miscommunication during a high-stakes match, or even a shocking betrayal. The tension could create some of the most compelling stories in recent wrestling history. Next, the dynasty expansion is inevitable. Legends rarely remain solo. New allies could appear, rising stars, martial arts specialists, or even unexpected wrestlers seeking power under this banner. Each edition would amplify the dynasty's presence, turning the alliance from a single force into an unstoppable faction, capable of dominating every division. Rivalries won't just be individual. There'll be faction wars, sweeping storylines, and arena-wide chaos. The betrayal angle is always a tantalizing possibility. Wrestling fans live for the shock of unexpected twists. What if one member of the dynasty challenges Breakker? Or what if a superstar feigns loyalty before delivering a devastating blow? These dramatic turns could redefine titles, shake fan loyalty, and keep everyone guessing until the final bell rings. And then there's the dream match potential. Breakker versus top-tier superstars, armed with the dynasty's backing, becomes an event on a new scale. Pay-per-view spectacles, SummerSlam main events, WrestleMania headline matches, every scenario suddenly carries higher stakes, more suspense, and unparalleled excitement. Imagine every commentator hyping the unpredictability, every fan theorizing, every move, every moment, feeling like history in the making. Finally, the long-term legacy of this partnership is staggering. Breakker, shaped by the dynasty, could become a symbol of a new era. The Seagal Dynasty, through this alliance, can cement its influence in wrestling for decades to come. Together, they create not just a storyline, but a cultural phenomena. Fusion of strength, strategy, and legacy that fans will remember forever. The possibilities are limitless. Every feud, every alliance, every betrayal, and every championship chase could be magnified by this seismic partnership. Fans aren't just witnessing matches there, witnessing the birth of a dynasty. And one question hangs over it all. Can anyone stop them? The arena falls into a hush again, but this time it feels different. Not anticipation. Not suspense, A-dub, the kind of awe that comes when you realize history is in the making. The alliance between Bron Breakker and the Seagal Dynasty has not only arrived, it has already left an indelible mark. Every fan watching, every commentator shouting, every rival plotting, backstage knows this is no ordinary chapter in wrestling. This is an era-defining moment. Think about it. A young powerhouse, built for dominance. Tempered and sharpened by the discipline and legacy of a dynasty unlike any other. The fusion of raw energy and calculated strategy has created something unstoppable, something untouchable, something legendary. And yet, with all that power comes a looming question, one that every fan, wrestler, and analyst is silently asking themselves, is WWE ready for this level of power? Because it's not just about victories anymore. It's about presence, influence, fear. Every match Breakker enters, every storyline, every feud is now viewed through a new lens. Champions must reconsider their dominance. Rivals must rethink strategy. The audience is left holding their breath, never knowing when this hybrid force will strike next. And for the creative minds behind the scenes, the challenge is greater than ever. How do you ride around a partnership that feels nearly invincible? And beyond WWE, the ripple effect is massive. Social media explodes. Theories flood timelines, memes become legendary, fan art spreads like wildfire. The community debates endlessly. Who can even challenge this alliance? Who could stand in their way? And yet, the beauty of wrestling lies in its unpredictability, the very thing that keeps millions coming back, night after night. History has shown that every great dynasty faces a moment of truth. Every powerful union encounters a crossroads. Betrayal, rivalry, and the emergence of new challengers are inevitable. But until that moment arrives, Breakker and the Seagal Dynasty reign supreme in speculation, in imagination, and in the hearts of fans. So here's the final thought, the question that lingers long after the arena lights fade. The commentary ends, and the replay loops begin. Can anyone stop them? Can WWE handle the storm that has been unleashed? Or is this the dawn of a new era, where one alliance rewrites the rules entirely? The answer remains unknown. And maybe that's exactly the point. Because when power meets legacy, when fury meets strategy, and when history meets the future, the world watches, breathless, shocked, and endlessly captivated.